My name's Alex Clifton. I'm the Head of Operations at the Society of Operations Engineers. I'm joined today by Andrew Trigg from the DVSA. Purpose of today's discussion is to talk about the merits of professional registration, more specifically the engineering technician EngTech post-nominal, and how the technicians in the road transport sector can make use of the post-nominal and how it benefits them. Andrew, could you talk us through your working experience and your sort of background, where you're from, who have you been with before?
Yes, absolutely. Hi Alex, I'm Andy Trigg. I'm the Learning and Delivery Manager for the DVSA. I started my career in the road transport industry for Arriva buses quite a while ago now, and I progressed from technician up to engineering manager, fleet manager, where I managed fleets of vehicles as well as depot staff, support staff, cleaners, etc.
Yeah.
I decided I wanted a bit of a break from the hustle and bustle of the bus industry, and I thought it would be really great to pass on my knowledge to other people, the knowledge that I'd accumulated vastly over a number of years. So I decided to go into training. I thought it would be really good to go into training. And I joined Logistics UK as a national technical training instructor, where I travelled all around the UK and Northern Ireland, delivering technical training, vehicle inspection training, MOT training, etc.
And it was auditing as well, right? You did audits as well?
I did compliance auditing as well with Logistics UK, operator licence audits, etc., etc. I then joined the DVSA, where as I said, I now work as a learning and development training delivery manager, where my primary role is to oversee the training of new entrant vehicle standards assessors for the DVSA.
Is that for the entire network, or is that region specific? Or
that's the entire network. That's Great Britain. So we have new VSAs joining us from the whole of Great Britain, and my team. So I manage a team of 6 training specialists, and it's their job to train the new entrant vehicle standards assessors over a 16-week training program, which then allows them to go off and test heavy vehicles at authorised testing facilities. And prior to that, I worked as a vehicle standards assessor myself.
Do you develop the 16-week induction course? Do you develop that as well, or do you sort of advise in an advisory capacity? Or
that's the training course. That's a training program that's developed in-house by our in-house solutions team, and that is all passed off by DVSA policy. And then we deliver the whole package to the new entrant VSAs.
When you started out in PSV, I might have this wrong, but did you start out as an apprentice when you came into the sector?
Yes, I started off as an apprentice, and then I worked my way, building my career as I went, as I say, from fitter, technician, all with Arriva buses at that time. I did touched on compliance auditing as well with Arriva, and a little bit of dipping my toes into training at that point. I think that's where I caught the bug for training, to be honest. And then I moved my way up to workshop manager, where I think managed a fleet of at one stage 150 vehicles and all the associated support staff. So I feel as though my career has given me a really good grounding in what I do and what we're going to be talking about today.
So in terms of your familiarity with the IRTE and then the Engineering Council, I mean, the main topic here today we're going to be talking about is professional registration.
Yes.
What's your experience been like with professional registration, and how can the sector best make use of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I applied for EngTech professional registration in 2019, and it's one of the best things I ever did. I enlisted the help of a mentor who guided me through the process, and I would encourage any individual that's looking to apply for EngTech professional registration to make use of the SOE mentor platform, because it's a great platform, and you've got people there that will mentor you through the whole application process.
So to clarify for the audience, were you a member of the IRT beforehand? And how long were you in membership with us for before you sort of approached it?
So I first became a member of the SOE IRT in 2006.
Right, okay.
So I first took my service and maintenance accreditation at irtec level, and then again the SOE and the IRT have been monumental in helping me throughout my career, through vast amounts of CPD material on the website. So I feel as though you're in a position where you can talk to other members and get advice as well.
Well, you have the regional centres to make use of, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think as well, like being an IRT member and being around your peers, if your colleagues have gone through the journey themselves, and it kind of helps give you the confidence that your working experience qualifies for it.
Yes.
For those that aren't aware, professional registration is a peer-reviewed assessment of your capabilities as an engineer. So we work in tandem with the Engineering Council, who outline what's called the UK spec, and they determine the sort of rule set per se as to what sort of post-nominal you can achieve. So in terms of the landscape, a general landscape for all of engineering UK-wide, you have 3 separate post-nominals. So the first post-nominal that you would see more than likely in the IRTE sector is EngTech, which is for engineering technician, which, as you know, you're typically working to a sort of level 3 minimum standard, 2 years experience. You're either on the tools or you're practically doing the work. You're a technician, including the name. Beyond that, you have IEng, which stands for Incorporated Engineer Status. IEng is, in terms of, these are not hard and fast rules, but generally, IEng is roughly around the sort of level 6 mark. You're influencing engineering at a strategic level. You're a manager of people, a controller of budgets.
Yes.
And then further beyond that, you have CEng, which is your chartered engineer status, where you're influencing engineering at a sort of C-level position, or you have a mechanical engineering degree, which is equivalent to. But in terms of the IRTE sector, due to the nature of how technicians come into positions of management, of warehouse to wheels to the workshop, there is never, it's not typically the formal educational background, so it's more via experience.
Yes, absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that EngTech isn't equal to CEng. They're all valid in their own rights.
Yeah, absolutely. I think gaining EngTech for me personally is great to be used as a stepping stone for incorporated engineering, chartered engineer, and each have their own competencies that are independently assessed by the EngTech marking panel. So absolutely, Alex, I agree with what your point you made there about the EngTech being equivalent to a level 3 engineering qualification, because I think the beauty of EngTech as well, and professional registration, it's open to applicants across the whole of the engineering sector. So it isn't bedded down in one particular sector, if you like. So whether you're in the road transport industry, an engineering surveyor, or your background is cranes or plant, the EngTech professional registration is open to the whole sector.
Well, this is the thing, it's an internationally recognised, status. It's not a certification, it's not a qualification, it is an assessment to say that you practice what you preach, you work to a higher standard. And the Engineering Council, they're the kind of governing body behind what's called the UK spec. Now, the UK spec, it's the outline metrics that companies like the SOE will assess and review to prove that the applicant is working to the standards of, say, EngTech or IEng. Now, in terms of the 5 competencies, we've tried to memorise these. So, Got the 5 competencies. The first one is design and application.
Yeah. So the engineer in the application has to show where they've encountered an engineering problem.
Yeah.
Whether that's with an engine or a piece of equipment, and then they have to show within the application where they've applied proven engineering methods, techniques, and procedures to detect that problem and to put in a fix. So working with themselves and the wider team and other stakeholders, and even sometimes the public when it comes to health and safety, the competence, the assessment is measured against their ability to show where they're applying proven techniques and procedures to identify these problems and then ultimately mitigate the risks for those happening again.
Yeah.
And also as well to show where you've worked with a team. So you're responsible for working with yourself and others, and what that means. And to think about sustainability as well, because I think sustainability in this day and age is very, very important. And we look for evidence of your understanding as an applicant in what it means to be a sustainable engineer in 2026. And also working ethically to a code of conduct. So and the EngTech, the Engineering Council, published their own guidance on sustainability and working ethically, and also the code of practice. So the whole application is assessed in line with those, which are all contained within the UK spec. Also CPD as well. CPD, continued professional development is very, very important.
Well, this is it. It's about proving that you have a commitment to professionalism.
Yes.
And you know, there is a requirement that once you achieve your EngTech that you prove that you're conducting CPD every year, which is 35 hours. But that doesn't necessarily need to be, you know, CPD approved training or courses. It could be, for example, like today at the CV show, you're sitting in on the speaker sessions, that would count as a day towards your CPD requirement. But it's verifying and proving your professional commitment. That you're proactively learning and keeping up to date with what's happening for your sector. You're not relying on what you learned decades ago. But also design and implementation as well, isn't there?
It is, And I think CPD, as you say, it can be anything. It's a very broad church, and it's all there for the engineer to, as you say, to maintain their knowledge, to keep their knowledge base up to date, and it's very important. As I said previously, I can't stress enough the importance of CPD and how that's regarded with the Engineering Council. The Engineering Council produced their own guidance on CPD. As I say, it's recommended around 35 hours of mixed CPD annually, and a great tool for engineers within the road transport sector is the SOE CPD platform. It's relatively new at the minute, but I would urge all engineers within the road transport sector to go and have a look at the SOE CPD platform, because it really is great, and there's access to loads of material, loads of CPD that's only going to enhance the engineers knowledge, and then by recording that is audited annually by the SOE, and then that's one of the ways engineers can maintain their professional registration throughout their career.
This is the thing, in terms of the CPD content that we produce for the IRT sector, we rely on industry partners to deliver that content, and even our members. So, for example, Andrew, you've recently developed the tyre guide for PSV operators.
Yes.
It might be a consultation on van maintenance for small light commercial fleets.
Yes.
Updates to GTMR. I mean, all of this kind of content. If there is a learning outcome and you can describe and detail that, keep a record, and that's your CPD.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
It's not like five days a year in a classroom with hotels and everything else. So
I think it's important, Alex, that we can't underestimate the importance of CPD. It should be near the top of any engineer's priorities to constant learning. You know, to try and develop a mentality of 360-degree learning.
Yes.
We never stop learning. You know, don't stop listening. Don't stop learning. Don't stop listening. two great pieces of advice, I think, for any engineer. And as I say, yes, I have been involved with writing updates to the SOE bus and coach tyre maintenance guide. That's within the voluntary work. I'm thankful for the voluntary work that I do with the SOE and IRTE as well, and that enables me to sort of apply my knowledge to get involved with the SOE as well, and I'm really grateful for that. But that's a big part. But as I say, that will all be available on the SOE CPD platform.
So in terms of, so we covered there like the UK spec and the Engineering Council. For the layman, what does EngTech mean in practice? Like, why would an individual want EngTech? You know.
So I think first of all, it's professional recognition.
Yes.
So you're being recognised that you're working to high standards within the industry. You've got the post nominals after your name that instantly confirm that this is an engineer that knows what they're doing. And I say knows what they're doing because for me personally, my skills and experience and competence have been measured by independent assessors. They've been assessed
by industry peers.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm confident that I'm working to the highest possible level that I can work to. It gives credibility as well. So whatever, as I say, sector you're in, whatever your job role, for me personally, as an L&D manager and a training specialist, I think it adds a bit of credibility to what I do. And I think that could be the same for every engineer within the road transport industry and the wider engineering sector as well. I think also it gives engineers the confidence to aim higher. Who doesn't want that promotion? Who doesn't want that next best job that's coming up? And I think if you've got that EngTech professional registration and those nominals after your name, that's a great advantage when applying for promotion.
This is the thing, it buffers your personal brand. So, you've got, there's a vacancy going for a promotion as a line manager at your work. There's 10 applicants perhaps, and one of them is EngTech, because they put the proactive work in outside of their working hours to go and achieve it. It helps you stand out from the crowd. And I think in terms of verifying competency at a glance, it does the speaking for you. You haven't got to talk through your working experience because the post-nominal speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
And the actual status itself, it's not UK-centric, it's an internationally recognised professional status.
It is. It is. It's nationally recognised and also provides a shield as well. So it provides a legal shield. If anything was to go wrong, and occasionally things do within the road transport sector. And so having EngTech, a benefit for the individual and a benefit for the employer is that professional registration gives that shield.
But this is the thing: if an engineering manager is sat in a public inquiry in front of a traffic commissioner, and they're a chartered engineer, they're incorporated, or even EngTech, then it does speaking for them.
It does.
It shows that you're keeping up to date with what's happening for the sector. You're tracking regulatory changes. And you're not resting on laurels.
No, that's right, because that's the way that EngTech is maintained. And the way of maintaining EngTech is to annually submit your CPD of the recommended 35 hours and to be a member of a professional engineering institution. And I think everything ties in. I talk about a 360-degree learning model, and I think that's vitally important. But by having your CPD assessed annually, it shows that you're committed to that. And that shows your employer that you're committed to it. And it shows the wider sector and stakeholders, and as you say, the traffic commissioner as well, that you're committed to lifelong learning.
And in terms of, so for the audience, the majority of them will be more familiar perhaps with irtec, which is a it's a license, it's a scheme that we administrate and license at the IRTE. How does EngTech compare to irtec in terms of sort of the wider industry? So with irtec, although irtec and EngTech are great both in their own right, and I would encourage engineers within the road transport sector to have both, really, because I have the irtec inspection
accreditation. I'm also an irtec assessor as well, so I carry out assessments for heavy vehicle inspection. So the irtec differs from the Engineering Council, from EngTech, in a way as irtec is open to the road transport sector. It's an individual assessment, so an independent assessor will assess the applicant on their ability to carry out an inspection on a heavy vehicle, and that's it could be a HGV, a PSV, or it could be a trailer. So they have to meet the DVSA minimum standards to inspect a heavy vehicle, and that's using the DVSA MOT inspection manuals and also the guide to maintaining roadworthiness as well. So anybody that's thinking of applying for irtec, I would say certainly study the guide to maintaining roadworthiness, because that's going to help throughout the process. And again, I think it shows that there's more of an understanding of what it means to be compliant regarding the O license. I was always told to protect the operator's license at all costs, and I think having irtec is a good way to show that your ability to protect the O license. And again, with irtec, one of the ways of maintaining it, you have to retake the accreditation. So
every 5 years.
irtec is an accreditation.
Yes.
EngTech is a registration. So it's two different things. As I understand that, it's professional status. So you have to retake the irtec accreditation every 5 years, as you say. And that's important because you've only got to see what's going on today at the Commercial Vehicle Show, how technologies change.
So that kind of covers irtec pretty in depth. I would say irtec is more about the practical sides of, let's say, if you were to compare the UK spec, it's more about the practical applications of theory. EngTech looks at the technician from a more holistic view, in terms of like encompassing and looking at ethics, sustainable practice, professional commitment, and proactive learning. And I think in terms of drawing a direct comparison of someone who is following the sector and the industry that they're in because of the CPD requirement, I think there's a lot of merit there. In terms of like verifying the person's paying attention to what's happening. I think the road transport sector as a whole, especially now with EV and alternative fuel vehicles coming to market, updates to GCMR, expansion of ULEZ, direct vision standards and all sorts, it's more of a requirement now for them to be constantly being up to date, not every 5 years, perhaps.
That's correct, yes.
And I think going back to Engineering Council as a whole, it kind of, for a technician within the road transport sector, if they wanted to leave the sector, it shows how they stack up against industry peers and other verticals. But despite merit of having EngTech. So I think that kind of gives like a bit of a layout of where they stack up. So in terms of the sort of the impact as an employer, why they should care about EngTech, I think it verifies your staff working to a higher standard.
It does, because as an employer, Alex, it shows that their employees have had their credentials measured against the UK spec. Now, the UK spec is the standard for engineering competence and commitment as well, commitment to CPD. So from an engineer, they can rest in the confidence that their employee has been independently assessed, and they're confident that they're working or have the ability to work to a high standard.
I think that industry and peer assessment, what it does for your workforce, it proves that they're working safely.
It does.
They're working to an ethical code of practice, and they're following what's happening for their industry they're in. And you know, the actual real world practice of this, you know, if you're, like, heaven forbid, your team or they're involved in an accident at work where engineering practice comes into question, you as an employer who have invested in your staff to go and get these post-nominals, become EngTech registered, you know, you're protected in terms of your commitment to professional standards.
Yes, absolutely. as I say, as an employer, it's almost like it is a shield, a safety net. That if you're in the road transport industry, it's protection of the operator's license, protection of other licenses within the wider sector as well, and it's commitment. That if you could sum it up in one word, it's committed to being a professional engineer. That's what EngTech is, a commitment to professional engineering.
And I think in terms of operational impact for the employer, the 35 hours a year CPD requirement, it's likely that they're doing that practice already. It could be through irtec every 5 years, or attendance of a show like this, Road Transport Expo, in-house health and safety, anything that's rooted in engineering practice.
Yes.
You've brought in new roller brake testing equipment, revisions to ADAS. It could be anything.
Yeah.
So it's not just strictly like a fixed classroom environment, and it's something that employers, whether they're aware of it or not, they're probably already having this practice in place as is.
Yeah.
As part of their internal policy.
I think as well, and it can be, I think, for anybody that's thinking of applying for professional registration or irtec. I know you'll probably talk about it in a bit more detail, Alex, but for me, making use of the SOE resources, make use of the CPD platform, the SOE mentoring platform, because that's going to guide you. That's going to be that person holding your hand throughout the process.
Exactly.
And I employed the services of a mentor as well to help me along, and it was invaluable. Whether you apply for EngTech by qualification route, so formal level 3 engineering qualification, or if you're not qualified,
you workplace assessment.
You can go via what we call an experiential route, which is having a workplace assessment. So the assessor will interview you. It's normally done over a Teams call, and it's just measuring over a call your competencies in line with UK spec. So please don't think if you're not qualified, the door is closed, because it isn't. The door is open to anybody that wants to apply for EngTech, as long as they can meet the competencies and the requirements as set out in the UK spec.
What Andrew's just listed there, they're all effectively benefits that members of the SOE and then in turn IRT have access to. So in terms of where we come in, so the Society of Operations Engineers, we're what's known as a PEI, which stands for a Professional Engineering Institution. So that being a member of a PEI is a requirement to be able to apply for those professional titles.
Yes.
And once you achieve the professional titles, you have to obtain membership with a PEI in order to keep hold of them. We do the sort of guidance and coaching and assessment to enable people to have the confidence and ability to translate their experience and apply for those titles. But also we ensure that the CPD to retain the post-nominals is also being done.
Yes.
So where we provide the peer network that does the assessment and review of people's individual journeys. Now, as part of the sort of the implementation there, once you become a member, you have access to the benefits Andrew's listed. So there's a mentor platform, CPD content, but also the networking opportunities as well. So for the IRTE sector, we have the IRT regional network to make use of, where most of the CPD events happen on site at a different venues there anyway. But yeah, in terms of the sort of wider landscape of PEIs, there are other PEIs out there, but as for commitment to road transport technicians in the road transport sector, we're best placed to be able to do that because we are also the Institute of Road Transport Engineers, which is our sort of commercial trading arm behind MPRS and irtec. So we know the sector well and we're familiar with it and have been for decades.
Yes.
In terms of the sort of, do you have any points to add on there, actually?
No, I think that's covered it. As you say, just my advice is just use all of the available resources.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I mean, in terms of technicians in the road transport sector, there's beyond irtec, there's not a great deal out there in terms of verifying standards and skills. And there isn't a need to go to university necessarily and getting a degree. And that verification through EngTech provides another route, another opportunity for people to have their skills recognised.
Yes.
So if that is something that those tuning in want to do, then there's a few routes going about it. The first step is to become a member of the SOE and then turn the IRTE. And then we can guide you, we can review your experience and your journey so far, and we can advise on whereabouts you would land as far as the different titles that you can achieve. There's a few ways of going about this. So we have there's an email inbox, which is membership@soe.org.uk. Feel free to ping a line and request a call back through there. Alternatively, we have the website, so it's soe.org.uk, where you can inquire to become a member through there. From that point, someone in the membership team will be in touch. They'll introduce yourself and they'll review your sort of working experience and provide more guidance from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could just add, I'm actually a volunteer SOE mentor as well. So if you want to look me up, my name will be on the mentor list for SOE. So absolutely open to helping anybody that's thinking of either the irtec accreditation or going down the route of
EngTech.
Engineering professional registration.
Wonderful. Well, Andrew, thank you for your time.
Cheers, Alex.
Cheers.
Thank you.